Hi folks, let's just start by trying out this reverse vowels of a string Leetcode 345 problem today. In the problem description says write a function that takes a string as input and reverse only the vowels of a string. So the examples are given. Hello has been converted to holy, and the lead code also have been the vowels have been reversed, leaving the consonants in place. So how do we do these problems? So usually it helps to have two indices in these kind of problems. Index 1 pointing to the beginning of the string, input string, and index 2 pointing to the end of the input string. Now let's start by first having a set of vowels or a string of vowels. So A, E, I, O, U. So is our vowels, and then because strings are immutable, are not mutable, so we cannot change their content in place. So we'll actually have to start by let's have a list. Let us convert it to a list first. So we say s list equal to list s, and this is one way to do it, and this would give us a list of characters in the string. Other ways would have been something like list comprehension. So we say c for c in s, probably could have gotten the same result, but let's just continue to stick to this way of doing it. So list and then now have a variable that points to the beginning of the string, have another variable j which points to the length of the string minus 1 or length of s list. Both would have worked in this case. So while I less than j, this is the approach taken in these kind of problems when we are walking a sequence on both ends of it, the beginning and the end, and we are kind of bringing those indices together, and we stop the loop as long as the condition I less than j is satisfied. So I would be incrementing and j would be decrementing. So if we say if si not involved, so basically we have to continue, because the idea is we would skip all the consonants and stop, and I would stop at a vowel. Similarly, we should do in the case of j. If s list, let's say we can say s list also here. If s list j not in vowels. Oh, actually, one thing that is missing here is we have to keep incrementing I, and here we have to keep decrementing j. So you say j minus equal to 1, and then we say continue. Now, so at this point, when we are here at line 19, both I and j should be pointing at the vowels, and the exchange or reversing can begin. So can we use a Pythonic way to reverse then these things, like si comma sj equal to sj comma si? This is the Pythonic way. I mean, we could also use the temp approach, using the temporary variable, and then but let's go this way. And so having done that, we just have, when we're done with the while loop, we have to return the string, because you see the function signature or the function annotation, as they say in Python 3, is basically saying that this is str. It has a return type of string. So so how do we return the string? We say return, basically we use the join operator to get our original string back and see if it works. So we have error. Okay, so even though we were smart enough to use list, but we have a typo here, we're still using the strings here. So s list I, s list j. Now let's try to run it. time limit exceeded. So what has happened is that we have forgotten to increment I here and j decrement j here after doing the actual swap. Otherwise, what would happen is that once you start pointing at the vowels, you're never changing it, so it continues to basically go in infinite loop. So let's see it now. Alright, so that is accepted. Let's try the submit and see if we pass all the other test cases as well. Okay, so what is the problem now? Oh, I see. So look at that. He's saying that the input was A, small a and capital A, and the output should have been other way around, but we didn't swap these vowels. And that's because if you look at our vowels list, we are not considering the caps. So let's include them as well. So A, E, I, O, U. And let's try to do a submit now. All right, so that's accepted. It has is saying it is faster than 95% of Python3 online submissions. So that was a relatively easy problem to solve. I would say what are the uh, uh, pitfalls to watch for in this problem. The pitfalls are, for example, not um, here having a continuous statement, or basically not skipping all the consonants. So if you didn't have a continue here, what would have happened? You would have just skipped the first one, and if you had a string like where you have more than like for example wrong, WRONG, so W you would have skipped, and then you would have stuck at R, and here you would have also been at N, and then you will be swapping them, which is the wrong approach. So we have to continue to skip until we find a vowel. We should skip all the consonants. So that is one pitfall. Other is you might forget to not include the caps letters here in the vowels. So otherwise it seems fairly straightforward. I hope it was interesting for you. Let us do more string problems in the future, and until then, goodbye. Take care.